Would I rather put an end to war or an end to hunger? I think I would rather put an end to war because, in a way, I think that war indirectly leads to hunger. Very often, people who are living in war-torn countries, they are displaced from their homes. They lose their homes, they lose their land, they lose their jobs, their livelihood, they lose any opportunity to make a living so that they can buy food. So the very existence of war, in my opinion, leads to malnutrition and hunger and sometimes even famine. If you look at the places in the world that are suffering from famine, whose citizens are not just hungry but starving to death, many of those countries are in the midst of war. Darfur comes to mind in the Sudan. That country has been ravaged by war and internal fighting for I don't even know how long. And because of it, so many people are displaced and living in refugee camps where food is scarce and quality of life is almost non-existent. People are just trying to exist, to survive. So I really think that war is a catalyst for hunger, for famine. Also, during war, very often, either intentionally or unintentionally, things like crops and livestock are destroyed. Very often it's the opposing side comes in and destroys the farmland and the livelihood, and that of course leads people with food shortages. Also, some governments tend to put most of the food resources towards troops and other military personnel, which can often leave citizens with not enough food to sustain life. And then you get hunger and famine. And you also get displaced people. So because of that, I honestly, truly think that if we didn't have war, we wouldn't have the same level of hunger that we do in some places of the world. There are still people in Canada and the US who don't have enough to eat. There is still hunger in that sense. So you can't just say, oh, war is the only reason that there's hunger. But I think it plays a big role. People feel really desperate and insecure when they don't know where their next meal is going to come from, when they don't know where they're going to be tomorrow or whether they're going to have enough to sustain their life. So having hunger can also lead people to it can lead people down the wrong path because they're desperate and they need to do something for food. That kind of got off track a little bit, but in my mind, if we didn't have war, if we didn't have fighting and people getting displaced and losing their homes and losing their jobs, we wouldn't suffer from the same level of hunger that some people in this world are suffering from. I read a study a few years back that said there's enough food in this world to feed everybody the proper amount that you need. However, it's food distribution that leads to hunger. So that's my 2 cents worth.